Hello everybody, Lore Master Sotek here. Hope you're all doing well, and today we're going to be having probably a couple videos coming out. I completely forgot that leading into, all the exciting stuff that was going on, that I had committed a number of days to help my family with various things. So that was a fun surprise. But regardless, we are back on the train of getting back to streaming and videos and such. So for this particular video, because there's going to be a couple coming out, like as I said, I'm going to be focused on showing y'all what's different with Kugoth Plaguefather. If you want this is going to be a fairly short, kind of to the point video, but if you're wanting to get a very in-depth, longer-term look at all of the changes to Nurgle, I will include a link that will show up somewhere on screen and also be down in the pinned comment to an Epidemia stream that we did a few days back, where we played for a whole bunch of hours and basically played the campaign almost all the way through. So if you want to, feel free to go check out that to see Epidemius, as well as just to get a more detailed look at everything. But this is kind of going to be the 10-minute-ish version. So, Kugoth Plaguefather, like all of the other factions that are being focused on for Thrones of Decay, has received some pretty notable updates. He is a substantially better character now, so let's go into what has changed for Nurgle and Kugoth in particular. So the first thing, of course, is that you have his unique faction mechanic, which is because he is the good old Fetid Brewmaster, which is that Kugoth Plaguefather specializes in creating diseases, where Epidemius is more about wanting you to create as many diseases as possible and spread them all over the place. And Kugoth is kind of the opposite, where he cares about the quality of his diseases as opposed to the quantity. So in addition to just having additional blessed plagues, which we'll take a look at here in just a minute, he gets even more of them as he levels up across the campaign. He also gets growth just faction-wide, so he's better at growing the size of his settlements faster. And he also gives you a bonus to the recruitment health of your demons. Which, for those that have not played Nurgle in a while, the way Nurgle plays is that instead of recruiting units normally, you of course have these cyclical buildings that are your military buildings. And every time they go through a cycle, so each individual one of these is a cycle, you are able to gain whatever units are listed here. So when this one completes, you would get a unit of Plague Bearers and 2 Nurglings. When this one completes, you would get 2 Plague Bearers and a Nurgling. Same for this one, etc., etc. And when you recruit new units with Kugoth, or any of your armies, you recruit them instantly, unlike regular armies, which normally take a few turns, 1 to 3 turns depending on the quality of the unit. However, they come in at lower health. So if we have kind of Kugoth just run around, smash a bunch of stuff here. Just grab a bunch of goodies and make sure we're grabbing infections so that we unlock the ability to create diseases sooner rather than later. We're just going to do anything that grants us more infections right here at the start. But once we are in friendly territory, you can see here that I have the ability to recruit some units, and when I recruit them, they recruit instantly. However, once I click recruit, they come in at a little bit above 50% health. Normally, it would just be kind of a... Actually, I think maybe they come in at exactly 50%. But that's higher than it would be for if I was playing like Epidemius, for instance, or presumably Tarmacon, because Kugoth gets a bonus to his demonic units in order to, see what buffs they get. But as far as individual changes for Kugoth himself, you can see his skill tree has been reorganized a bit. He used to have it where he just had a massive amount of skills all along the top of the tree, and they've reordered it into this really nice little concise section, which is a good change. It just makes it cleaner and nicer to look at. So you have the Nurgling Tide, which makes it that for Kugoth you get an additional 10% casualty replenishment rate for all demonic units, so your demon units heal faster, which is really nice. You also get 25% recruitment cost reduction on demonic units, also nice, and you get the Nurgling Tide, which of course summons a unit of Nurglings that you can throw at the enemy and they'll blow up. You can activate them to blow them up. You then have Pustulant Abundance, which has been very, very heavily buffed. There used to be a skill very similar to this on the old Kugoth sheet, but this one is so much stronger, which is that you get it's faction wide. It used to be that the Nurgling buff ability was only for Kugoth's army. Now it's a faction ability. So you get minus 25% upkeep for Nurglings faction wide. Then you get regen for all Nurglings faction wide as long as they're rank 7 or above. And they also get plus 5 melee defense rank 7 or above. But the regen alone is incredibly powerful, especially if you have a garrison that manages to successfully win a couple fights and hold off the enemy. Getting that regen on armies that are not being led by generals is a godsend. You then have Angel of Disease, which combines some of his older skills. So you get the plus 5 growth per region after he wins a battle. This is also very, very nice. So it stacks on the regions. So if you have a province with 4 regions in it, you can get up to plus 20 growth every time you win a fight, which is really cool. And then it also spreads Nurgle Corruption wherever Kugoth is. You then get Lord of Stench, which gives you upkeep reduction and Slime Trail for Great Unclean Ones. Once again, this is faction wide, super duper nice. Champions of Decay, which gives you plague-ridden heroes plus 1 capacity and plus 2 recruit rank. In addition, you can get them from anywhere. And then Rotting Ways, which increases the chances of plagues spreading and also decreases how expensive plagues are to make, which, considering that Kugoth's kind of main gimmick is that you're going to be really, really heavily focused on doing that, is, kind of a godsend. So here, you can also see Nurgle's skill tree just really feels nice now. The fact that you get upkeep reduction, in the first 4, and then you can focus. I think generally people are going to want casualty replenishment in the later 4. Those are all super good, but probably the biggest change for Kugoth, which I'm going to insert just a little skip here to get ahead in a moment, is that Kugoth is able to deal with Gorst so much more efficiently than he used to. Gorst used to be an absolute nightmare of a character. I think virtually everyone has probably gone through the experience of attempting to play a Kugoth campaign, and it just doesn't even feel fun, because that pesky necromancer is just a pain in the butt. You can also see here that the tech tree has changed significantly, where now you have different branches and trees to them. If you want to see like a hardcore breakdown of any of these things, once again, I would recommend going ahead and checking out my Epidemius campaign, where you can see all that stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and fast forward a bit to just when I'm going after Gorst, just to kind of show you what Kugoth is capable of doing to deal with Gorst now, and then we'll take it from there. Alright, so welcome back. So you can see here, this is a classic situation many Kugoth players have found themselves in, where you have taken over the Dragon Isles, everything seems like it's going great, and then this piece of garbage shows up, banging on your front door with his stupid 1 paragraph, 2 paragraphs of lore, somehow getting him into this game. But regardless, how do you deal with him? Well, in the old days, you just couldn't. Dealing with him was impossible. But now, there's a solution. Plagues. So, this is the new plague crafting system, which I've talked about a fair bit on stream. So if you want to watch like a really detailed breakdown, basically you start with access to 1 symptom, but you get to pick it, and then it leads you along a track of connected symptoms, and you can pick, based on whatever's 3 in a row. And the ones that have these fun little buboes around them are blessed symptoms, where the effects are double. So normally this would only be plus 25 growth, minus 25 growth, depending on if it's a Nurgle ally or an enemy. This one would be minus 15, plus 15 upkeep, depending on if it's on a Nurgle faction or a non-Nurgle faction. But luckily, we're playing Kugoth, so he gets 2 blessed symptoms for free. And every single time he gains 10 levels, so when he hits rank 10, then rank 20, then 30, then 40, then 50, he adds another blessed symptom onto this chart. And you can get even more blessed symptoms by doing certain techs in your tech tree. which is just fantastic. So Kugoth can get to the point where almost the vast majority of the various effects are going to be constantly blessed, which is really, really nice. But that aside, we're here to deal with Helm and Gorst. So how do we deal with him? Because he is notoriously such a hard counter to Kugoth, because he just regenerates endlessly and can just outgrind you in melee. Well, the answer is obvious, silly. Outgrind him first. So how do you do that? Well, you start by doing attrition damage, which of course he has a special bonus to ignore. But then you go this way to get to this. So what this disease does is that when you infect an enemy army with this, it reduces their healing cap by 50%. And you just slap that on good old Kugoth. And let's see, we could modify it for 38. So why don't we do how long it's gonna... I don't think we need how long it's gonna last. Let's do the chance of it spreading. We'll increase to the max. Because if we could get this to spread back onto us before Gorst attacks us, that would be ideal, because then we could get the fleshy abundance, which would be very nice. And then let's also make it not give less immunity. So, you know what? No, let's just... Yeah, that's fine, actually. So then we're going to summon a cultist. And then we're going to tell him to go blow up on Gorst. So now, should Helm and Gorst attack us, he is only going to have half of his healing cap. So his entire army is going to reach their maximum healing hilariously fast, which is exactly what we want. We're even going to do this little thing, Plague God's Pasture, as our upcoming commandment. That way this disease will not only last a turn longer, but it'll have an even higher chance to spread to Kugoth. And we'll have a pretty much guaranteed chance for it to spread, because by opening the plague menu here, we can see the disease we created, which is called Liquefying Lungs. And it's currently on Helm and Gorst, and it has a 30% chance to spread to Kugoth base. But when we check the disease, we see it has a 55% chance. So there's an 85% chance that it's going to spread to Kugoth right now. And that's before this activates, which will knock it to a 95% chance, which is just so excellent. The other thing that I do want to call out for Nurgle players who maybe are just kind of taking a brief look at this video and not wanting to deal with the Epidemius video, some other cool things to look out for once you're actually playing. You do, of course, have the commandments have been updated and fixed quite a bit. So you have the ability to rush cycles now, so you can pay infection points to skip a cycle, which allows you to essentially force recruit units, which is really nice. You're going to want to make a lot of infection points, which there's a building now that lets you build that. So the infrastructure tree is all very, very nice because it's no longer based on the cycle system. Same thing for the garrison structures. The only thing you use the cycle system for is military and advanced military structures, which is good. That's a good change. But the other thing is that Nurgle Corruption has changed to be just so much more impactful, where it not only gives attrition to enemies and gives you bonus to control, but also increases the chances of plague spreading in that province, gives 30% bonus recruitment help for all units once you have the corruption high enough, and gives you a cheaper recruitment cost as well. So when you combine Kugoth's 10% with this 30%, it means that should you recruit new demonic units with Kugoth, you're going to be able to get some very high health units right away. So I'm not going to bore y'all with the overall battle, but I can tell you from very good experience that being able to slap the healing cap disease on, like, you could just spam it onto Gorst and his boys. Just make sure it has decent duration and good spread chance, and it will wreak havoc on those pesky vampire counts, which really makes Kugoth's campaign so much better, smoother sailing. So, yeah, just wanted to point that out about him. Like I said, if you want to catch all the specific details, feel free to go check out the Epidemia stream. Some other stuff first worth calling out, just because I've kind of like seen on the subreddits and stuff, is that the resource buildings there are different categories of them. So, like, for instance, the medicine building increases the chances of plagues spreading and how long the plagues last in the area, which is, it's all right. You know, it's really good for making sure you can create like a really solid plague that increases like growth and income and makes your building cycle faster so you get more troops, and that's great because it'll spread around the province. But there are others that just give you like other nice little bonuses. So like this wood building is super nice because if you build a basic military building in that region, it'll cycle super fast. It's also cheaper, all buildings in the province, and makes your advanced buildings cycle much quicker, which is great. But there are other ones, like if I think it's you get the gemstone building, it immediately unlocks all of your hero types in that region for building the gemstone resource structure, instead of normal where you have to build the garrison and the protection tree separately to get access to all the heroes. If you have like a gemstone building, and I think gold as well, you just immediately get access to all the heroes at level tier 1, which is super nice. And there are some that will just flat out give you a ton of infection points. There are some other resource buildings that'll just give you a ton of money. So there's the resource buildings have been reworked for Nurgle along with the rest of your building tree, the tech tree, the plague tree. You also have unholy manifestations are now so much easier, and this is for all the demonic factions, which is so nice. It used to take, I think, like 5,000 global corruption to get access to the maximum tier thing, and now it's only 2,000. So it is just so much more manageable to use your unholy manifestations, and you're going to be using them on a much more regular basis, I can tell you from personal experience, regardless of which of the demonic factions you're playing, which is just awesome. Or the mono god, I should say. So that's going to be it for this video. Like I said, this one's going to be pretty short and sweet. I hope you all enjoy it, and I hope I see you around very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.